Welcome back, everyone, to the High Tempo Sports Podcast, episode 80 today. It's been about a week since we did our last episode, so, we got a lot of stuff to cover. How we doing today, Easton?
Good. Episode 80 is crazy. We're 20 episodes away from our 100th episode. We still don't know what we're going to do for that episode.
Yeah, I mean, we got some time before then anyway.
Yeah, 20 episodes is still a long time away.
But, we have a week of news to cover. A lot of stuff has happened this week in all aspects of sports, so let's just hop right into it. The first thing I want to talk about is Russell Wilson. So, really odd situation here. Like, on Thursday morning, Russell Wilson's management team, or his agent team or whatever, pretty much just brought up the idea of him requesting a trade. And it was like, it wasn't them like demanding a trade, but it was just them going to Seattle about a possible trade for Russell Wilson to leave Seattle, which kind of just came out of nowhere.
It's just such a weird thing for because like you said, it came out of nowhere. And then the teams he listed as possible trade destinations.
Well, I wasn't there yet because this was before anything Russell Wilson said. This was all just his management team. But then, obviously, it came out later that Russell Wilson doesn't want out of Seattle. But if he were to get traded, it would only be to Chicago, Dallas, Vegas, or New Orleans, which is just odd. Like, I don't get the point of listing the teams, or at least making it public. What is the saying? I don't want to be traded, but if you did trade me, that's pretty much just saying, yeah, I want to be traded, right?
I wonder if there's rumors inside the front office that Russell Wilson was hearing and Russell Wilson's management team was hearing about it, because it's just so strange for it just to come out of nowhere. Your franchise QB say, I don't want to be traded, but if you're gonna trade me, you have to hear something if you're gonna say something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just a really weird situation. And honestly, I would bet that Russell Wilson gets traded this offseason. I would. Because this is just really weird. When I was looking up, this up yesterday, kind of just to figure out why it happened, a lot of people are saying it wouldn't be surprising if Russell Wilson did get traded. So I don't know. It would add to a crazy upcoming NFL offseason that we're already about to have. I mean, we've seen a few quarterbacks, starting QBs already switch teams, and there's going to be more in a quarterback top-heavy draft too. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Russell Wilson.
It's just super weird because he's the opposite of Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson had an awful career, awful season this last season.
I mean, he didn't have an awful season.
No.
He was top
team.
three in yards.
The team. Yeah, I meant the team. Deshaun Watson was nuts this year. But Russell Wilson was a playoff team and lost to John Wolford. I don't understand what you really have to complain about. And I don't get it because he's not complaining. He's just telling them that if you're going to trade me,
obviously,
me here.
I would like to know more details about the situation before I kind of make a conclusion about it. But Russell Wilson is aging a little bit. He's in his early 30s, which is really weird because it feels like I just saw him get drafted a couple years ago. He's an older quarterback, and he definitely would have good trade value. I mean, he's better than Matthew Stafford, and you see what he got traded for, but. I don't know. If Seattle, they have a great young receiver in DK Metcalf, so it would take a lot for them to trade Russell Wilson, I feel like. So they would have to get a good package in return. So, let's move on from that. Next, I do want to talk about Tiger Woods real quick. Tuesday, I think. It was either Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm pretty sure it was Tuesday. Tiger Woods was involved in a one-car accident, pretty bad. Compound fracture in his legs. If you don't know what that means the bone come out of the skin. So very bad injury. He also had a destroyed ankle. And I'm pretty sure the doctor or the sheriff, one of the two, said that they're surprised. He's super lucky to be alive because it was. Did you get to see a picture of the accident? The car is absolutely destroyed. I don't know how he's alive after it.
It's nuts, and it's opposite legs, right? It's one. His ankle.
I'm not sure.
I think it's opposite legs. I think both legs.
That would
broken.
really be bad.
But prayers out for Tiger Woods for a speedy recovery.
For real.
That's scary. I mean, Kevin Ware recovered from compound fractures, but I don't know. This might be the end of golf.
This is different. Yeah, I mean, a car accident injury is different than one on the basketball court. So, shout out to Tiger Woods. Hopefully, he can get back in at least walking. I mean, I'm not saying he's got to become start golfing again. I just hope he can start to be able to move around like he did before.
Exactly, especially with his son.
Yeah.
So I'm speedy recovery for Tiger Woods.
And then the last thing I do want to, we'll spend a minute talking about this, is the All-Star reserves. The full All-Star teams have been named. In the West, we're gonna have Paul George, Rudy Gobert, Damian Lillard, Donovan Mitchell, Chris Paul, Zion Williamson, and Anthony Davis. And Anthony Davis will be missing the All-Star game. So the top snub out of the West, Devin Booker, will be replacing Anthony Davis. And in the East, we have Jaylen Brown, James Harden, Zach LaVine, Julius Randle, Ben Simmons, Jason Tatum, and Nikola Vucevic. And Kevin Durant will be missing this game. He is the captain of the East, he is going to be a captain. But Tatum is going to replace him as a starter, and then Sabonis is going to be a reserve in the East now. So initial thoughts, I mean, obviously everyone's going to have their snubs and, who didn't deserve it and everything. But what was just like the eye-opener, I guess, of the All-Star reserves for you?
The big one was Chris Paul getting in over Devin Booker for me. And not that I disagree with it, I just didn't think everybody else would agree with it.
Yeah.
Kind of deal. But I guess coaches and media thought, just like I did, that Chris Paul was
and you look at the difference from this year to last year. I mean, the Suns didn't change their team up that much. I mean, they added Chris Paul and they added a couple good bench players, but they're sitting at 21-11 right now. And last year at this point, they were one of the worst teams in the NBA. So I can definitely see why the coaches wanted Chris Paul or voted for Chris Paul over Devin Booker.
Well, and Chris Paul has shown his worth over the last couple of years, leaving the Rockets, and the Rockets aren't very good anymore. Going to OKC and making them good, like a really good team. Not that OKC's bad this year, but they're not great. They're not as great as they were last year. And now going to the Suns and being really good. And Chris Paul had a really good quote about Devin Booker and about Devin Booker getting some notoriety, because he said, the only reason I came to the Suns was because of Devin Booker. So that was really cool. And I'm really happy to see, the other initial thought is so happy to see Julius Randle make the All-Star game.
Pretty cool. I mean, the Knicks haven't had an All-Star since Melo.
Julius Randle was a guy I thought would never be an All-Star.
Yeah, and he was a guy that kind of was just, he was a bust of a top, 6 or 7. I think it was the 6th or 7th pick in the draft. I mean, I would think safe to say he was a bust for at least being picked that high. So shout out to Julius. Yeah, first time All-Stars we have here is Julius Randle making the first one, Zach LaVine making his first, Zion making his first, and I think that is it for the first, or Jaylen Brown making his first All-Star game too. I think that's it. The big in the East, there was a lot of there's more snubs from the East than West, I would say. The main snubs from the East were Domantas Sabonis, Trae Young, Bam, and Jimmy. Jeremy Grant maybe but I'm probably even forgetting someone too, but Sabonis gets in, and a lot of people are upset that it wasn't Bam or Jimmy getting in with KD going to be out for the All-Star game. So, I don't know. What do you think?
I'm really surprised they didn't give it to Bam, just because, or Jimmy for that matter, because of Jimmy's history, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like a guy, All-Star games give nods to the guys who have been there for a while. You see the older guys making it. Not that Jimmy Butler's old, but he's one of those guys
he's a vet,
now.
Yeah.
So I'm really surprised he didn't just make it off of there's a word, precedence.
I think it's dumb that people think Jimmy Butler should got it over Sabonis, because Jimmy Butler missed a while for early in the season. He missed 2.5 weeks. So Sabonis has played I kind of get Bam, because you really can't use the Pacers are better than the Heat argument anymore, because right now the Miami's 16-17 and Indiana's 15-16. So they're right neck and neck. But Sabonis is putting up better numbers. He's putting up better numbers than Bam and Jimmy. I still think they're both better players than Sabonis, but I'm fine with them giving it to Sabonis, honestly. But people are always going to be mad about snubs. Yeah. It's just how it works. I just hate when people get so upset about the snubs, because you got to replace it with somebody. I do think that DeMar DeRozan, though, that one is kind of a little upsetting. Not him not making the All-Star game, but even when people are talking about snubs, no one's even bringing his name up. The Spurs are 5th in the West right now at 16-12. That would put them at in the East, that would put them at 4th. Yeah. Like, so I don't know.
Right now, they're a top team in the league with the way they're playing.
Yeah.
And they're getting no recognition for it.
And DeMar DeRozan's the leader of that team. And I'm not saying he need to be an all-star, but when people are even listing the snubs, like they're not even listing him. Like,
it's just a classic Spurs.
People are forgetting about him.
It's a classic Spurs. Trae Young had a really good game after getting snubbed from the All-Star game.
I'm fine with Trae Young not making it.
Me too.
Atlanta's pretty bad. Trae Young he's having a really good year. He's putting up good numbers, but I don't know.
At some point, you have to start thinking about wins.
So the one thing, though, is Boston. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are pressed about Boston getting 2 All-Stars. Tatum gets moved into the All-Star starters. Boston Celtics right now are below 500 at 16-17. They've been playing very poorly in the last couple of weeks, and they got 2 All-Stars, whereas the Miami Heat, same exact record as them, made the finals last year.
Don't have one.
0 All-Stars. Toronto Raptors, 1 above them. That 17-17, 0 All-Stars.
Yeah, no.
Is a little, it's like, I think maybe just Jaylen Brown should have made it, kind of.
I agree. I'm somebody who's followed Jason Tatum a little bit closely than most people this year. Like, he's on my fantasy team. I picked him to win MVP. He has not been great this year. Like, great. He's been really good.
Like, he's been an all-star caliber player,
but there are other all-star caliber players that need to make it over him. Like a Jimmy Butler or a Bam or I don't know about a Pascal Siakam, but
maybe. I mean, yeah, it's not. It's up for debate for sure.
But Jason Tatum, after doing last night, went out and scored 9 points.
Yeah.
So and a couple weeks ago, he scored 8 or something, and it's just is that an all-star? I mean, really? Yeah. On a decent team that's not very good. So I don't really know. The Celtics team really needs to turn it around soon.
Yeah, Celtics are definitely going to be a team that is going to be in the news during the trade deadline, I would assume. And then I think the other main snub was probably Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for the West. There wasn't many West snubs, honestly, but Shai was a main one. I mean, putting up pretty good numbers on it. I mean, the Thunder aren't really that good. They're 14-19, but he's putting up really good numbers. Had a career game the other night, but he's just going to be a snub.
Yeah, he had 42 after getting snubbed.
And I saw Through the Wire was talking about it, saying, do you think that they should, an NBA roster has 15 players on it. There's only 12 All-Stars per team. Do you think that they should expand to 15 players for the All-Star game? Change the format, I guess.
No.
Because they've been doing it since the same format since the 60s of this East-West format.
And no, I don't think you should, just because it affects records at that point. If you make it more players, then it's easier to make the All-Star game. And then, because people do count All-Star games as stats when you're listing and comparing
It's
players.
Your Hall of Fame thing and everything,
he has 13 versus he only has 9. Like, this guy was better for longer. So I think you can't change it now just because of that.
I'm the same way. I think that it defeats the purpose of making the All-Star game. It's not as hard. It defeats the purpose of exactly. Snubs should be a thing. I like the competitiveness of making the All-Star game, and someone who doesn't make the All-Star game, goes out and Shai, goes out and has a really good game because he didn't make the All-Star game. Dame Lillard, when he was getting snubbed, he got snubbed twice a couple back 5 years ago, but he would always put up crazy games after being snubbed from the All-Star game. So I like that. I like the snub. Maybe if they made it 13 per team, I wouldn't be mad, but I'm still cool with the 12 per team because there is a lot of injury replacements that do happen. There's always at least one a year, more likely 2 to 3.
And you're looking at in the game less of your superstars playing, like the LeBrons and them playing. If you expand it,
because everyone's got to play.
Everybody has to play. You can't have 3 dudes just sit on the bench.
Yeah, not even because in a regular game, not all 15 players play. Only 12 max play.
Yeah, so it'd be it'd water down the All-Star game, the true talent that's in it. And the top of the league guys who are in it. So I think you keep it at 12.
I agree. Ready to move on from the All-Star game?
Yeah.
All right. So on to some big news. This week was what a fantastic week to be a civilian in the state of Michigan and be a college basketball fan. Doesn't matter which one you root for, unless it's I'm talking Michigan or Michigan State, not
CMU
Western or whatever.
What's going on?
But yeah. Michigan played on Sunday. We haven't had a podcast since last weekend, so we're kind of going to go over the week. Michigan took on Ohio State Sunday, probably the matchup of the year in the Big Ten so far, number 3 versus number 4 in Ohio State, and it did not disappoint. A super high-scoring game. Great offenses on both sides.
Great end of the game.
Yeah, great end of the game. Both teams were hitting a lot of shots. Like, it was a really good game. And Michigan just pulled it out and defeated Ohio State in Ohio State. First time since like in a long time.
Yeah,
I think since at least 2013 or something.
I thought it was 2012.
Yeah, maybe.
Something crazy like that. And this game was awesome. E.J. Liddell and Dwayne Washington were electric playing, and Michigan just held them off. They just kept fighting them off. And Michigan looked really good in this game, and so did Ohio State. Both teams looked really good, and it made an awesome game to watch.
Yeah,
it was so much fun.
Solidified Michigan definitely as a legit team. A lot of people are still doubting Michigan, just because, they have had a weaker schedule. Not really a week just because they are in the Big Ten, but
not anymore.
As far as in the Big Ten, they've had one of the weaker Big Ten schedules because all of their big games are towards the end of the year, like that one. So definitely solidified them as a end of March team. So. And then Tuesday, Michigan State took on Illinois after coming off of a big win against Indiana last weekend, playing against the number 4 team in the country, or number 5 team in the country in Illinois. And Michigan State really kind of just dominated this entire game. Best game I've seen them play all year. Rocket Watts had his best game. He's a guy that struggled all year. Aaron Henry continues to be one of the best players in the Big Ten right now. He has been, over Aaron Henry's last 8 games, he's averaging 19.1 points per game, which is very good because for a team in Michigan State that struggles offensively a lot.
And he has been awesome to watch. He was so much
fun to
watch.
He has become the leader that we needed them to become early in the year. Early in the year was like, who's going to step up and really be the leader of this team? Aaron Henry has definitely done that over this second half of the season. He's been fantastic in the second half. And we beat Illinois in a big game. Ayu Dosunmu does get injured in this game. Matty Sissoko swiped down, hit him pretty hard in the face. Face. It's a facial injury. He's probably going to be out for the rest of the regular season. So shout out to him. I hope he can come back healthy for the tournament and everything, because I want to see all the Big Ten teams play at full strength.
Yeah, did you see Matty Sissoko texted him? Oh, yeah, we talked
about it. Izzo talked to him afterwards, too.
Which is awesome.
Obviously, Sissoko, it looked like a dirty play. I don't think it was on purpose. If you really take a look at the play, there was not many other outcomes that would have happened, just because they were both flying right at each other. So
bodies colliding in midair.
Michigan State is a very physical basketball team, so stuff like that's going to happen. But, yeah, Michigan State shut down Kofi Cockburn in this game, too. Guy that was coming in, leading the Big Ten in rebounds. He was top 5 in the Big Ten in points per game, leading the Big Ten in blocks. And we really just shut him down. We were rotating our 4 centers in Marble, Bingham, Kithier, and Sissoko just to have fresh bodies out there the whole time. He gets it in the paint. We're doubling and do a really good job of rotating. So that's the one thing that Michigan State has done really well this year is defense. Our defense, even the games, we got killed by Iowa both times this year, but Garza really wasn't the main guy that went off for them both times. So speaking of Garza, Michigan took on Thursday was a huge game, or huge day of basketball. Michigan took on Iowa, and this was just a dominant performance from Michigan.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch most of this game. I was doing my own basketball games, but coming in and watching the end of this, holy moly, did Michigan dominate. I showed up with probably, 8 minutes to go, and 10 minutes to go in the game, and Hunter Dickinson is amazing. Mm-hmm. He is so talented, and Franz looked so good.
Franz had one of his better games of the year. Livers, too. Livers could not miss from 3.
This Michigan team and this win right here, there is no more easy schedule talk, because they've now beaten the teams that they were missing in their early part of their schedule, except for Illinois, who they're going to play at probably not full strength.
Yeah, but still.
This game was so much fun, and what a great, and then we'll talk about State, and then I'll talk about
that. But for Michigan, this was a really back and forth game in the first half. Iowa would kind of take a 3-4 point lead, and then Michigan would. They were both kind of not playing sloppy in the first half, but both teams just weren't playing their best. And in the second half, Michigan pretty much just came out and took control of the game. Early in the second half, like I said, Livers played really good. Franz had an excellent game. And like you said, Hunter Dickinson shut down Luka Garza. All of Luka Garza's points were coming at the free throw line or from jump shots. He was not getting nothing in the post. Dickinson was just absolutely bodying him down there, and that's a great sign for Michigan fans. So
yeah, especially coming up with Kofi Cockburn, at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So that's a huge sign.
Mm-hmm. And then lastly, right after that game, both a doubleheader on ESPN, which was super cool. Michigan State played Ohio State, number 4 team in the country. So they're playing 2 top 5 teams in 48 hours, which is ridiculous, especially it's a crazy end of the year schedule for both teams. And Michigan State really didn't play that well for most of this game, honestly. We were just playing really good defense and shutting down their players. E.J. Liddell did nothing in this game. Pretty sure we held him to less than 10 points, and most all of his points came at the free throw line. Dwayne Washington did have a pretty good game, but...
one, doesn't he?
Yeah, but Aaron Henry really was the factor to this one. Rocket Watts had a very poor game. Joey Hauser did play really well off of the bench, but Aaron Henry was the key factor to this game. Josh Langford hit a clutch jump shot at the end and also a good defensive stop on Dwayne Washington. And we beat Ohio State, which is just crazy. I mean, State is a team that has played poor all year. And then we beat 2 top 5 teams, and it's that time of year. It's end of February, about March. It's the time when Michigan State and Tom Izzo really turn it up like always. So I'm super happy to see this.
How many minutes did Aaron Henry play?
He was in foul trouble this game, so I'm pretty sure he only played 30 minutes. But in the first half, he missed a lot of time in the first half, which that's the thing that makes me kind of happy is State really didn't, like against Illinois, State, that was the best game they've played all year. Like no doubt. They beat Illinois by like 15. But against Ohio State, I mean, Michigan State wasn't really playing that well for most of this game, like offensively at least. Like they were struggling for a good amount of time, especially early in the second half, and we still won. So like against a top 5 team in the country. So that kind of makes me excited for if we can play like we did against Illinois throughout the tournament. I mean, it's gonna be dangerous.
Yeah, it's a great with Michigan and Michigan State both coming in hot to this end of the year. And then the crazy situation we have where we're playing back-to-back. What a fun 2 games those are going to be. I am so excited for that. Michigan still got a game today against Rutgers, right?
Oh, no, they play Indiana today.
Or Indiana.
Yep, at noon.
Yeah, so Michigan still got to win that. But I am so excited for this end of season and March Madness. We talked about it. We missed it so much. And now it looks like State's going to make the tourney.
Yeah.
Like with those 2 games in March, the board is going to see that and say, oh, man, these guys can play. And it's March. Everybody knows.
Taking a look at the remaining schedule for both teams. For Michigan, like we said, today they're taking on Indiana at Indiana. Tuesday, they're taking on Illinois in Ann Arbor, which is going to be a tough matchup. Thursday, they're taking on Michigan State in Ann Arbor. And then Sunday, they're going to East Lansing to play Michigan State. Like we said, back-to-back games, which is going to be it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. And then for Michigan State, tomorrow they play at Maryland. Tuesday they play against Indiana at home. Thursday they play at Michigan. And Sunday they play versus Michigan in the Breslin Center.
And that's their entire finished season schedule?
Yes.
Holy moly, we have a lot of games this week. 4 games this week for both teams. That's going to be so much fun. And then tournament play. I cannot wait for this year in tournament play.
Yep.
I just can't wait.
Most teams' regular season is ending before, or like not most teams, most conferences' regular season is ending before this. Like Gonzaga, I'm pretty sure their last regular season game is this weekend, and then their conference tournament starts kind of early. But a lot of games got added in at the end here. Like the State and Michigan were only going to play once. Second one got added. The Illinois game got added back in for Michigan. So. Both teams are going to be playing a lot going into these next few weeks and the next month. So, like we said, March Madness, I'm so excited for this. I've probably never been more excited for March Madness just because of how good the Big Ten is this year. Like, I would love to see in the Sweet 16, like 6 or 7 Big Ten teams. You know how cool that would be?
It'd be awesome.
I mean, you legitimately could. Like, you have Michigan, Michigan State, Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin, Ohio State. That's six right there. And those are 6 really good teams. There's a couple. I mean, Rutgers could make a run. You never know. Minnesota could make a run.
Minnesota is a scary team. I mean, that's the only Michigan's lost.
That's the thing, because Michigan State is, the question is whether or not they'll make the tournament or not. And someone, it might have been Joe Lunardi, but I don't think so. It was one of the ESPN analysts talking about what's it going to take for Michigan State to get in the tournament now that they have these 2 big wins. And they said that they have to finish in the conference 8-12, and they should probably get in. Right now, we're sitting at 7-9 right now. So like
one more win.
Yeah, just getting one more win, which I think that it's going to take more than that, honestly. I think that we definitely cannot lose either of these Maryland-Indiana games. And then if we win both against Maryland and Indiana, I think we'll be fine. I obviously don't want to get swept by Michigan, but if it does happen, I feel like it's not going to be that bad to our resume just because Michigan has proven to be a very good team this year. So, but I feel like we're not going to get swept by Michigan. I really think it's going to be a split. I really do.
And I think they only need to win again. I mean, these 2 top 5 wins are huge.
Yeah.
I think you need to beat Maryland, and then even if you just win a game in like the Big Ten tournament, or maybe 2 games in the Big Ten tournament, that's huge.
That's a scary thing as well. We could beat Maryland, Indiana, get swept by Michigan, and then lose in the first round of the Big Ten tournament, and then it's like, oh,
maybe
now
they should.
What?
Yeah.
So we have to make some sort of a run in the Big Ten tournament, which I think we can do.
Whether it be 1 or 2 games or the whole thing, like Michigan State.
That's the thing. We don't have to win it, but because State's going to be a lower seed, so we're going to be playing right at the beginning of the Big Ten. The Big Ten tournament is bye-filled. Like the top seeds don't play until like the quarterfinals. So Michigan State is a bottom-tier Big Ten team still right now. So we're going to be playing a lot of games in the Big Ten tournament. Hopefully we can dominate those games and kind of buffing up our schedule or our resume.
Lots of time to prove yourself.
Yeah.
In those games.
So, we ready to move on from that?
Yeah.
So, we did our NFL mock draft video last weekend. It was really fun, and the draft is coming up, and, we have a while. We have, like, a little less than 2 months, late April. But Mel Kiper, him and Todd McShay are the 2 main ESPN mock draft guys. Mel Kiper made his 1.0 mock draft like a couple weeks ago. His 2.0 came out the other day, and for the first time, he is a guy I like Mel Kiper a lot. I've liked him a little more than Todd McShay. I like Todd McShay's mocks too, but Mel Kiper has never put trades in his mocks ever. He's always been known that he just likes to do it how it is. Predicting trades is very difficult to do for a mock draft. But he did implement trades for the first time. So we're going to go over his mock, kind of see how it looks with ours. It only is the top 10 picks. It's the only thing I could find. I don't have ESPN Plus, so.
Wait a second. This is the first time ever he's put in trades?
Yeah, this is the first time he's ever put in trades in his mock, which I respect that because it's, like I said, it's
hard.
It's so difficult to just make, because it just throws everything off. Like, you have to predict the pick, then you have to predict the trade with, like.
Yeah, no, it makes it way more difficult. And I think, it just leaves you more space to be wrong.
Yeah.
If you throw in trades, I think you just go with what you got, and everybody can say, I like that a lot.
So with the first pick in his mock, obviously this one is going to be similar in most, if not all of them. Trevor Lawrence getting picked by the Jacksonville Jaguars, but after 1, that's where everything is different in all the mocks. So with the second pick, he has the Atlanta Falcons trading up from 4 to 2. With the New York Jets and Atlanta Falcons selecting Zach Wilson at pick 2. If Zach Wilson is their guy, I think you pull the trigger. You're probably going to have to throw in a future first-round pick attached to this, maybe your next year's pick. So if you are confident in Zach Wilson being your franchise QB, do it, because you could probably flip Matt Ryan for, something. I mean, maybe not a first-round pick because he is on a ginormous contract, but you could probably get something for him. I mean, you still look at what Carson. Who's better right now? Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's probably better than Carson Wentz, right? Probably. I would say so. Last year, at least.
Yeah.
But so I like that. I mean, I don't mind that trade at all.
It's crazy because I just didn't think the Falcons were going to be a team that was looking to get a new quarterback. Really.
I think they are going to, just because.
But I didn't even think about it. Like now that I think about it, it's like they probably need a new quarterback. Mm-hmm.
Just because you look at their division too, like it is time for a rebuild with the Bucs. They're probably going to be really good again next year. Yep. Carolina is. I think Carolina definitely could be good next year. They're a very young team. New Orleans is probably going to at least compete. I don't know how their team is going to look next year. It is kind of interesting, but
could have Russell Wilson.
Yeah, never know. I don't know how they would pull that off with their salary situation.
No idea.
But
I don't get it.
And then in the third pick, this is where is something that's the opposite of what I've been seeing lately. He has the Miami Dolphins staying here at pick 3 and selecting Devontae Smith as the number 1 wide receiver off the board. I've been seeing him go as the number 3 wide receiver, fall into in one of the recent mocks I saw, he was at 14. Pick 14 to Minnesota. Which, I mean, that wide receivers do fall. I mean, Jerry Jeudy and Ruggs, they were supposed to be top 10 picks at one point. They all fell to the mid-teens. But, yeah, Devontae Smith here at 3 over Jamar Chase.
You know what's odd to me about this pick is the comments that Devontae Smith made about Tua.
Yeah, I don't think it was really going at Tua.
No, I don't think it was
just
either.
praising Mac Jones, I feel like.
And I don't think that either, but it's still odd that Dolphins would take that guy.
I mean, it's not like Devontae Smith and Tua are probably really good friends. It's not. I don't think that they hate each other.
No, but
I don't think his is. I don't think it's going at Tua at all. I think it's just to praise Mac Jones, just because. I mean, Devontae Smith definitely was way more of a factor with Mac Jones than with Tua. Yeah. So I probably would think the same thing. You know.
I guess, yeah. I just think it's an odd comment to make and then go play for the guy
I don't know.
You were saying is 10 times worse.
That's like your
Mac
teammate,
Jones.
though. I mean, they were already teammates for a couple years, so.
I guess, yeah. It's just, I don't know. It just feels odd to me. Like, I couldn't imagine saying that about somebody and then going playing with them. Like,
but he didn't say it about Tua, though. It was about Mac Jones. But Tua just was in the conversation. He wasn't saying it about Tua.
But he said Mac Jones was 10 times better than Tua.
I know, but that's just it's not like the conversation wasn't like is Tua how bad is Tua? No, it's how good is Mac Jones. Yeah. So he wasn't going at Tua. I get what you're saying, but I don't know. I don't think that should be a reason for them not to draft him or anything. And then with the 4th pick, this is like I said, Atlanta traded up from 4 to 2, so this is the Jets at pick 4, and they are not going quarterback. They're sticking with Sam Darnold in this draft, and they're selecting Kyle Pitts out of Florida. So tight end going high, kind of like how you had it in yours. Interesting here for the Jets. I mean, it's not a bad approach, but for a team that kind of needs a lot, going tight end at pick 4 seems kind of
weird.
As your high first round pick, you go tight end. I feel like there's a lot more positions of need you could go with. But Pitts is a lot more than a tight end, so yeah, maybe you just need getting him a weapon for Sam Darnold.
Yeah, Sam Darnold's been lacking in those.
Yeah. Pick 5, this one is pretty similar in most mocks. It's the Bengals selecting Penei Sewell out of Oregon, tackle. And then the 6th pick, Philadelphia Eagles are selecting Jamar Chase here. So yeah, I just feel like Jamar Chase is like for sure going to be the first wide receiver selected. But, I mean, maybe if Miami wants to reconnect Devontae Smith and Tua, then I get it. But Jamar Chase to Philly here would be great for Philly fans. Even though in a lot of mocks, Philly's been drafting quarterbacks. I don't know what's up with that. They traded away Carson Wentz, it looked like, to give the keys to Jalen Hurts. And a lot of them have had them taking Justin Fields. So, I don't know.
There was that whole thing about, Jalen Hurts doesn't have the job. He's still competing.
Yeah.
But I think that's just
I think it'd be a waste. Like, what was the point of drafting Jalen Hurts in the second round?
I think that's just them saying that. I don't think that's
They have to at least give Jalen Hurts a year just to see. Pick 7 is another trade. Detroit Lions were supposed to be picking here, but they have the Detroit Lions trading down to 13, I think is what the 49ers were. I have it actually right here. Trading down to 12 with the 49ers. 49ers trading up from 12 to 7. And I saw in this trade we also get San Francisco's first next year. So I would love for the Lions to trade down because he also, I didn't see it obviously, but I saw on a Lions page that in his mock they have us taking Micah Parsons at 12. Ooh. So us trading down to get Micah Parsons and getting another future first. I love that.
I like Micah Parsons. I know it sounds weird.
Yeah. But I like him a lot, too.
He feels like a Detroit kind of guy,
I'm pretty sure Dan Campbell probably can handle him.
And he probably loves him.
I probably... okay, I don't know about that. But it has the San Francisco 49ers at pick 7 here, selecting Justin Fields to be their future QB. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be out of the picture. I've seen a lot of trades with a lot of just things about San Francisco trading for like Matt Ryan, or obviously Deshaun Watson San Francisco is probably still the top suitor for Deshaun Watson. But if they strike out with getting a veteran QB, nothing wrong with drafting a young quarterback here in the top 10. Pick 8, this is when it gets interesting. Carolina Panthers at pick 8 taking Mac Jones, QB out of Bama, over Trey Lance. Mac Jones is a guy who has really been rising in a lot of mock drafts, which is interesting because, like I said, the history of Alabama quarterbacks in the NFL just isn't the best. He is different than a lot of them because he is much more of a pocket passer than like any of them. A lot of Bama quarterbacks usually are dual threat quarterbacks or guys that just have a really, really good arm and can throw it deep, but their accuracy isn't the best. But Mac Jones is none of that. I mean, he barely threw any interceptions last year at Bama. Really good pocket passer. Doesn't do anything flashy, but it would be cool to see him do good in the NFL.
Yeah,
honestly.
it would be. It's just crazy to me. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm obviously not like on the draft boards or anything.
Yeah.
I don't know what has made him climb all of a sudden.
Yeah, same.
Because like he was just like nowhere to be found.
Combine hasn't even happened yet. I mean, I don't know if he played in the Senior Bowl or not, but still.
Like Trey Lance was there was no, at one point there was no chance Mac Jones was gonna be taken before Trey Lance. And now it seems like it's a very real possibility.
And like,
I'm curious what happened.
I've seen a lot of mocks with Trey Lance as the third quarterback drafted, and this one has him as the fifth. So, but yeah, Mac Jones at 8, interesting pick there. Number 9, this is where the final trade of this top 10 goes down. So he has 3 different trades.
That's crazy.
I know, for never doing trades, I guess he just wanted to
blew up.
Let's just make it all trades. The New England Patriots are trading up to pick 9 here with the Denver Broncos, which is interesting because Denver Broncos are a team that kind of is in, might be looking to draft a quarterback. I did say that I think they'll probably roll with Drew Lock for another year, but it wouldn't surprise me if they drafted one. But they have him trading down to pick 15 here. New England moves up to draft Trey Lance at pick 9. So 5 QBs.
Top 9.
5 QBs in the top 9, yeah.
That's crazy. I just can't see it happening.
I mean, the last time we've had that many QBs drafted in 2018, I mean, Baker, Sam Darnold went 1 and 2, and then we had Josh Allen and Josh Rosen go right at like 9 and 11 or something, and then Lamar Jackson went late first round. So like, this would be crazy. That wasn't all 5 in the top. That was 5 in the first round, but 5 in the top 9. Like
I can't. Like I
there's not a defensive player off the board yet.
I really struggle to believe that happens.
I don't struggle to believe the defensive player part, but the 5 QBs.
Yeah.
I mean, Jalen Waddle's falling out of the top 10 here.
Yeah,
man, that is a top wide receiver talent. Probably would be the number 1 wide receiver drafted in last year's draft in a loaded wide receiver class too. And then at pick 10, he has the first defensive player coming off the board, Patrick Surtain, going to the Dallas Cowboys. I definitely think Dallas will probably go corner, whether it's him or Caleb Farley. But yeah, I mean, this year is just so offensively loaded in the top half, and honestly, in the entire first round. I mean, there's probably 20 first round offensive players and 12 defense. If I just had to take a guess, so yeah, interesting mock here from Mel Kiper. Like we said, a lot can change with the combine, and the draft is still a little under 2 months away. So,
oh man, I thought it was farther away than that. Oh, it's late. It comes here faster than I thought it did.
It's late April, so still, I mean, but the thing is, we have a lot more that's going to happen before the draft.
Combine trades.
Free agency happens before the draft, and obviously the franchise tag era is pretty soon. I think it's actually going on right now. I think they can tag people whenever they want. So there's going to be a lot more news coming in the NFL for sure.
And that definitely shakes up who teams are picking, obviously. Yeah. So I'm so excited to see what the Lions do.
Me too. They have a lot of options. I mean, they could still randomly draft a QB at 7 too. Like I've seen them drafting Trey Lance at 7. Like
this whole new start to the Lions really makes me excited with Dan Campbell coming in. And I'm just really excited to see where they go. And I'm going to support them immediately. Whatever they do, I'm going to... Yeah. Unless it's something crazy, but I don't expect them to do something crazy.
I think Brad Holmes has a very fan favorite vision to this Lions team, as far as we're just going to build through the draft, something that this team has been very bad at doing, and we're going to get a lot of picks, a lot of young guys, and just try to develop them, which is something that the fans have to. I mean, how can you not like that? It just gives you at least you can at least say, all right, well, we suck right now, but in 5 years, we could be good. Yep. It's not like how the Lions have been the last 5 years, where it's like we have to win be now. Good this year, or else we're screwed.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we are, and then it's like, oh man, we're just gonna draft a shitter anyway.
Exactly.
So are we ready to move on to NBA talk though?
Yeah.
So in the NBA right now, I'm going to just go over the top 8 in each conference, but we are going to be doing the trade deadline is March 25th, so less than a month away. We're going to be doing 5 trade deadline trades that we think could happen. But let's go over the standings first. So in the poor East, which only has 3 teams above 500 right now.
That is unbelievably bad. Like, that is horrible.
Like fourth right now is sitting at 17 and 17. And 10th is 15 and 17. That's how close it is. And there's not many teams that are out of the picture right now, other than the Pistons, really. So at 1, we have this Philadelphia 76ers at 22 and 11. 2, we have the Brooklyn Nets at 22 and 12. They are winners of 8 straight games, which is they've been playing great without KD. Pick 3, or not pick 3. Third place, we have the Bucks at 20-13. They've won 4 straight. Fourth is the Raptors at 17-17. They've really rose in the standings after having a very poor start. Fifth is the Miami Heat, another team that has been rising a lot. They're 16-17, winners of 5 straight. Sixth is the New York Knicks at 16-17. Seventh is the Boston Celtics at 16-17. Got a huge win last night after them just been playing really bad lately. And then eighth is the Indiana Pacers at 15-16. And then Chicago and Charlotte are right behind them with a half game out of 8th spot. In the West, we have the best team in the NBA, the Utah Jazz at 26-7, lost to the Miami Heat last night, I think. Number 2 is the LA Clippers at 24-11. 3 is the LA Lakers at 23-11. 4 is the Phoenix Suns at 21-11. 5 is the Spurs at 16-12. Portland is at 6 at 18-14. They've lost 4 straight games. 7 is the Warriors at 19-15. They've won 3 straight. And then Denver is at 17-15 at 8. West is loaded.
Yeah, it's loaded. In the East, it's actually kind of crazy how I want to say it found balance. Like the Raptors climbed back up to where we all know they should be. The Heat climbed back up to where we all know they should. Thing is, they climbed up,
but they could if they lose tonight.
they're dropped.
If they had a game tonight and they lose and the other team's behind them, they're down to 10th.
Yeah, so exactly.
The East is so weird. I can't wait till it just isn't. I don't know. It is kind of cool that it's like that.
Yeah,
though.
like imagine like the end of the year.
Like the Atlanta Hawks, if they go on a little 3-game win streak, they could be at the 4th seed in the East.
Yeah. So everybody's still in it in the East, which is awesome.
Even the Washington Wizards, like a team that was a bottom 3 team in the NBA, they're sitting at 12th in the East right now at 12-18. Like they are like 4 games back of being the 5th seed.
Yeah, and that's nuts. Because teams go on 4-game losing streaks.
Oh, yeah.
Portland's on one right now.
Washington was on like a 5-game win streak not that long ago. I think they just lost, but still, like they were balling for a little bit.
Who are some of the guys that didn't make it in the West? Teams that should be there.
Dallas right at 9th. They're at 15-16, but they're right out of it. But I mean, still, you look at all the teams above them, and it's like, who's going to fall out? Because like I said, Denver's at 8 right now. Yeah. I feel like they're only going to climb.
Spurs are at what?
Spurs are at 5. They're 16-12. They could fall out. They just started playing again. I mean, they took like 4 games off because of COVID. New Orleans is at 11 at 14-18. Memphis is still right outside looking in at 14-15. The only teams that are really out of it, I mean, Minnesota at 7-26, worst team in the NBA. They're most likely out of it. The Houston Rockets at 11-20. They are. I don't know what Houston is really doing because they don't have their pick.
Yeah, Houston's seriously struggling.
OKC's got their pick, and they're. I don't know what their plan is.
I've seen talk for VO getting traded this year.
Oh yeah, Oladipo. I would be shocked if he doesn't get traded, just because I mean he's on an expiring deal. Houston sucks. A team would definitely like to have a half year of Oladipo for the playoffs and everything.
Especially a quality team. I could take the Heat going out and getting a guy like Oladipo.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that would work really well. I could see Dallas going out and getting Oladipo. They got to get him sooner rather than later, though, Dallas does.
Yeah. Sacramento's at 13-20. They took on the Pistons last night. What a weird ending to that game.
That game was awful.
De'Aaron Fox playing the foul game. Kings were up by 3 with less than, the shot clock was off. And Fox was playing the foul game, which is the smart play, but it's just kind of annoying. Like,
it's the boring play.
It happened in the Nets Clippers game a couple weeks ago too, where it's just like, yeah, it's the right play, but no one wants to see that.
It's
weird because they did it twice, right? So they fouled him. They went to the line. And the Pistons, by the way, missing on purpose the second one. What are you doing? There's like 20 seconds on the clock. You're down by 2. Like, just make it and then foul them, and hopefully they miss one. If not, you can still try to hit a 3. Somehow the Pistons were still in the game despite missing their free throws like crazy. Down by 3 with like 8 seconds left. And De'Aaron Fox and the Kings just decide, we're not going to foul this time. We're going to let him shoot. What was the point of doing all that? Weird ending. Jeremy Grant got fouled on the game-tying 3, didn't call it, and the Kings won. It's whatever. I mean, it's probably better that the Pistons lost, but I still...
It's hard to watch the game and want them to lose.
In close games, I'm still rooting for them to win, because it doesn't... If they were to win that game, that doesn't change. They're still the second worst record in the NBA, whether the win or loss. So... I don't. As long as they're, like I said, as long as they're a bottom 3 team in the NBA, I don't care, because all bottom 3 have the same odds. So I don't care what games they win and lose. But with the Pistons, Dennis Smith Jr. really has been playing pretty well ever since coming to the Pistons. DeLon Wright injury has kind of helped Dennis Smith Jr. out because he's been getting a lot of minutes. Saban Lee, the same thing. I mean, it's like we've been talking about this lately, but when Killian Hayes comes back, I don't know what the rotation is going to be because by the time Killian Hayes comes back, DeLon Wright's going to be back too. So like, where do the minutes go for all of our guards?
It's crazy to think. I think that honestly, DeLon Wright falls out of the rotation.
See, I don't think so because before he was getting 35 minutes a game and playing really well.
Yeah, I guess.
I think Saban Lee probably falls out of the rotation.
Probably Saban Lee. No, you're probably right.
Which sucks because
he's been playing good.
He's been playing decent.
Like, he's fun to watch.
Yeah, he is fun to watch. He plays really hard and he could randomly dunk on somebody. Dennis Smith Jr. had a crazy dunk in their game last night too.
The Pistons right now, I mean, with like two guys like Dennis Smith Jr. and Josh Jackson have just like remade their career,
revamped their career. Yeah,
like their careers are now like, oh man, Josh Jackson can actually go play.
Josh
for a
Jackson
solid team.
is putting up double-digit points every night. I mean, like he'll come off the bench, he'll put up at least 10, 12 points every night, and randomly he'll score 20 too. Like, and he plays good defense.
He impressed. No, Josh Jackson.
I like watching Josh Jackson.
Me too. He's a good defender. Like I think he's a very talented defender. I think he's another guy that any team in the league would want if you're making a playoff run to come off your bench.
I don't think I don't think the Pistons are going to trade him.
No, I don't. Yeah. I'm just saying. Like,
I get what you're saying.
He's valuable,
especially in the future too.
I think he has a lot of value.
He's got another year left on his deal, so he'll be with the Pistons next year. I would love for him to be on the Pistons for another year too. I think he's a good piece for us. And then maybe the year after that, he enters free agency and gets a decent deal from a contending team. I could so see that. But yeah, I like talking about the Pistons just because we have our young guys. Saddiq Bey has kind of cooled down a little bit from his crazy stretch of games he was having, but we also are having a lot of different guys step up as well. And Saddiq Bey is still getting really good, consistent minutes. Sekou gets the least amount of minutes on the team. Literally last night he played like 9 minutes, and everyone else played at least like 12 or 13. Sekou really is probably the Sekou project is probably coming to an end. I would say I know it's only been 2 years, that he'll probably be back next year as well, but I just don't see how he gets more minutes at any time because Blake Griffin's already out of the like who else at the forward position could we trade to that where he would be getting more minutes? No one, I don't think.
Nobody.
And then next year we're only going to be drafting guys. Yeah. We're going to have a first round pick, a couple seconds. We might even trade for another first. We're obviously going to sign some guys. So like Sekou really is probably he's probably done in Detroit.
And like honestly, watching him, I'm pretty okay with it because when he plays, I'm not impressed.
I mean, I'm not okay. It just sucks though because he was a first round pick with a lot of potential. You know?
It sucks. It definitely does. But I'm saying like just watching him play, I've been impressed with him ever. I've never watched a game where I'm like, man, Sekou looked good. I'm always like, what is he doing? Yeah. So I'm not like I'm upset about it because I really wanted him to pan out, but I just don't think he will.
And when you think about it too, he wasn't Troy Weaver's pick. You know, Troy Weaver's picks were Saddiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart, and Killian Hayes, and obviously Killian Hayes is hurt, but Saddiq Bey and Isaiah Stewart both play pretty significant minutes now.
Lee.
Yeah, and Saban Lee, yeah, like they're all playing significant minutes, whereas Sekou was not Troy Weaver's pick. Obviously, he probably doesn't see a bright future for him at least as much as the guys he picked in the first round last year. So. I'm cool with the Pistons. Keep doing what they're doing. They're still fun to watch. DeLon Wright definitely could be a trade candidate, but if not, it's fine. But I want to see Killian Hayes back bad. Like I'm scared that he's just gonna get forgotten about really and end up sitting out the whole year.
The thing about this Pistons team right now is it's perfect for Killian Hayes to come back because we have now committed to the rebuild. Yeah, like Blake Griffin's did he play anymore? Is he playing right now?
Blake,
he's out, right?
Yeah, they're sitting him until he gets traded.
I don't know if that was still a thing.
Yeah, it is.
It's the perfect time for Killian Hayes to come in and play and really play.
I know,
and like try and make.
But that's the thing. I'm gonna look to see if like on ESPN if there's any sort of update for him. Probably not, but. Yeah, like I said, it is the perfect time, but at the same time, is it? Because right now is when Dennis Smith Jr. is really starting to show that
good point.
He's been playing pretty good, and I don't really want to take that away from him because if we traded Derrick Rose for him in a second round pick, I mean the Pistons don't have our second round pick, so the Knicks have it. I'm pretty sure.
I'd be okay with us making a move earlier rather than later with Wayne Ellington, looking to trade him to open up more minutes at the 2-guard spot. Because Killian Hayes is a tall one, so he could slide over. Not that I want him to, but to get him on the floor, I'm okay with that.
So this was back January 20th. He'll be reevaluated in 8 weeks. So 8 weeks is like, let's just say 2 months, a little less than 2 months. So like mid-March, pretty much. Wow. And this also says that he He will miss the first half of the 2021 campaign. The second half of the season expected to begin in mid-March, and that could be when he returns. His status should be updated as he progresses through the rehab process. So he could be back within the next month, which, God, I hope so. But at the same time, I could so see them just sitting him the rest of the year.
Taking it slow.
I could see that happening. I hope not, but
especially with how good Dennis Smith Jr. and if DeLon Wright comes back good, I mean, they're both. If they both come back good, maybe you can take a year of, hey, Killian, you're 18 years old.
But at the same time, what if we draft a guard in the draft and it's just like Killian hasn't shown us anything, you know? So like,
why play him?
Why would we play him over Cade Cunningham or it's Jalen Suggs or something, you know? So it's whatever. But I mean, any other teams you want to talk about, or you just want to hop into these trades?
Hop into these trades.
So let's do it. 5 trades here. Obviously, we put these in the trade machine and everything to make sure that they work with money financially. So do you want to give us your first one? Or
and this I'm gonna do my big ones that I really, really like. This first one is a huge one. We talked about the Heat getting VO. I got the Heat getting a completely different guy at the deadline. Depending on how the Wizards rest of the season go, I want them to go out and get Bradley Beal. This is a team that's been struggling not lately, but at times they struggle big time. And they're giving up a lot, but
you have to for a guy like Bradley Beal.
Getting Bradley Beal, Wizards get Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Kendrick Nunn, Kelly Olynyk, 2022 first, 25 first, and a 27 first. Because the Heat are in very win now mode. And I'm not even sure Duncan, Tyler, or Nunn will ever even get close to as good as Bradley Beal is.
No. That's the thing. That's the part where you have to, because the Heat obviously didn't want to give up Tyler Hero for anything, but you have to think, like, is Tyler Hero ever going to be as good as Bradley Beal? Is Tyler Hero ever going to be good as James Harden, obviously before the James Harden trade?
Probably
not. Like, there's no way he'll ever be that good. Yeah, he could be like a borderline all-star. I feel like that's his ceiling, though.
Me too. And that's why I really
like that trade. You might have to throw in Precious Achiuwa instead of, and maybe you might get to keep Nunn or Duncan.
Yeah, which is okay.
Because I feel like Precious probably is more valuable than Nunn, and the Wizards probably would like to get a big maybe in return. But do you want to give him up?
You just try to hold Precious for as long as you can.
I like that trade, though, because you would have to give up several picks. And I do think that you might as well make a move. Like I'm not saying that the East is not wide open, but this is going to give you more wins, and you want to be a top 4 seed.
And you're an instant contender. Yeah, like you compete with the Nets, the Bucks, the Sixers. Yeah. You're competitive now.
And now when you go into the finals, they just had Jimmy and Bam last year. Like I feel like this just adds so much more.
You have so much more.
I feel like it makes them way more of a contender.
Yeah. And I think
it all comes down to Washington, though, because like I said, Washington has been playing better. But like I said, in the next month before the trade deadline, they could suck too.
Yeah, and that's why I like Jimmy as more of like a third option, taking that back seat role.
I mean, Jimmy's the guy who's he'll have the ball in his hand a lot, obviously, and be playmaking for. But he's definitely going to be a guy that's going to want to give Bradley Beal his shots.
Yeah,
too.
And I think those 3 would be a great big 3, and it really is a true big 3. That is a big 3 in the league
for sure. I didn't include a Bradley Beal trade just because I don't expect him to get traded during the season. I feel like he's more of an off-season traded player. But, I mean, like it definitely could happen. Like, I don't disagree with it at all. My first trade is involving a guy who's been talking about for a trade deadline trade kind of most of the season. It's Kyle Lowry. Lowry is on the final year of his deal. The Raptors, I would be shocked if they brought him back next year just because they gave Fred VanVleet that huge deal. I think he's going to become the franchise point guard for them. I think VanVleet could probably be an all-star someday too. So I have Kyle Lowry getting traded to the LA Clippers here. The Clippers have been looking kind of for their point guard of the future, or not of the future, just for a playoff run. That creates another nice big 3 with Lowry, PG, and Kawhi. Kawhi and Lowry are becoming teammates again. They won a championship together in 2019. But yeah, the Clippers get Kyle Lowry, and Toronto gets Marcus Morris, Pat Bev, and Mabu Kabengele. I don't know how you say his name. He's a young forward for that team out of Florida State, and he's kind of got a little bit of promise. I don't have any picks involved because Lowry is on a huge deal, and he's on the last year of his contract, so I don't think that the Clippers would have to give up a pick for that. Toronto is getting Marcus Morris. If they like Marcus Morris's contract, it is a 4-year deal worth $64 million. So if they like, I mean, it's not that bad of a deal, $16 million a year. So it's not that bad of a deal. He could be a good player for you, or you could flip him in the offseason. Pat Bev is, I don't know if the Clippers would want to give him up, but he's only in here for money. So that's the deal I have.
very interesting because I have a Kyle Lowry trade, too.
I actually have another Kyle Lowry trade in here, too.
So I'm going to go through that. I like that trade a lot because I like Kyle Lowry with Kawhi and PG. I think that fits again. I think when we talk about fit, that's one that just would work.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is, Toronto, like I said, has been playing well, and they're 17-17 right now. So, like, do they want to trade Kyle Lowry? It all depends on how this next month goes because, like, the East is so tight right now.
I've got, for this Kyle Lowry trade, again, I've got the Heat involved. The Heat have so many assets, it makes it very easy to trade with. And again, if they're a fringe team, I think they got to make a move. And this one, the Heat get Kyle Lowry, Raptors get Goran Dragic, Kelly Olynyk, and swap first in 2022. So the first is really the big one here. You could probably throw in a Kendrick Nunn, too.
I feel like you might have to throw in Nunn.
You might.
Maybe. Because the Raptors really aren't getting much in return here.
I don't think you have to give up, I don't think that's too much for Kyle Lowry. Because I think Kyle Lowry, again, really works on this team.
Yeah.
I think Kyle Lowry, you can throw him in almost any roster in the league and he works. So I really like that trade, too.
Mm-hmm. Maybe even just, like, throwing a second on top of it, and that probably gets it done just because the Raptors really aren't getting much for Lowry in that one. Like, I feel like you might have to get, like, either a second or just like maybe a decent young player like a Kendrick Nunn. But yeah, I have Lowry going to the Heat in one of my I'm gonna wait till the end because that's my big trade.
That's your favorite one.
Yeah. So for this second one, this one probably isn't gonna happen, right? This one's kind of like a wild one, but it came out the other day that the Mavericks were shopping Kristaps Porzingis, and Mark Cuban came out and said, no, that isn't true. Yeah, it probably is true. It probably is true. I mean, the Mavericks are struggling. Porzingis is really just been disappointing ever since coming to, or at least this year, coming off of his injury. A team that gave up a lot of future assets to get Porzingis. So this one is weird because I have Kristaps Porzingis going to the Boston Celtics. The Celtics need to make a move. They kind of are, the big man is kind of their thing. They need to get a big man. Porzingis doesn't even have to play center. I honestly like him running him at the 4, and then still putting Tice next to him or something, or Tristan Thompson, because Porzingis can stretch the floor so well. But I wanted to make it so that obviously Dallas isn't just going to trade Porzingis for like young players and picks. You know, like they feel like want to get something in return. So I have this kind of a blockbuster trade here. I have Boston getting Kristaps Porzingis and James Johnson. James Johnson is making a lot of money, but Boston has the trade exception from Gordon Hayward. So that's like $28 million, so they can take on a lot of money. Dallas, however, is getting Kemba Walker in this trade. That's where the part where I don't know if Dallas wants to do that because defense is kind of their thing, and shooting. Kemba Walker has struggled this year, but maybe you like him next to Luka. So I have Dallas getting Kemba Walker, Romeo Langford, Grant Williams, and one unprotected first-round pick from the Boston Celtics. Probably like a 2022 or 3 pick because the Celtics are going to be good for the next couple years. I don't know how I feel about it, though. Like, that trade is really, like, I wrote it down. I was like, I'm going to go with it, and kind of, I don't know how I feel about it.
I'm not really sure it goes through, just because I'm not sure how willing the Celtics are to give up Kemba. But again, if they're sliding
Kemba has been, they were shopping Kemba Walker this offseason before he even had the poor start to this year. So,
but like that's what I was getting into. Like they haven't been very good this year. Like I can actually say that they haven't been very good this year.
I mean they're below 500.
You got to make a move at some point. You can't just try and you can roll the punches because they've had injuries, they've had issues. Marcus Smart isn't playing right now.
Yeah.
So
and he's the backbone of that team.
Yeah,
so.
You can roll with that. And
but how much better does this make the Celtics?
I think a lot better. I think it makes the Celtics.
That's what I was wondering because I think it makes them better too. Because you could play Jaylen Brown at the 2, you could move Tatum to the 3, Porzingis at the 4, or you could put Porzingis at the 5. I guess maybe.
Did you put both Williams in the trade?
No, just Grant Williams.
Oh, and I like Robert Williams
because
at
they still
5.
well the Celtics keep all their bigs too.
Yeah.
They keep Daniel Tice, Tristan Thompson, Robert Williams. The point guard position, I mean, you could probably just start Marcus Smart, or you could start, I don't know, I was going to say Jeff Teague, but Jeff Teague is pretty trash. So, yeah, point guard position is a little, I don't know, but the Dallas is also getting Romeo Langford, a guy who really hasn't gotten much of a shot in Boston yet. Is still a young player. Grant Williams is a younger player who has been promising at times, and they get a pick in this, so Dallas, I don't know if it just depends on how much they like Kemba Walker because he is on a pretty bad contract, $34 million this year. There's still like 3 years left on that deal too. So it depends on how much they like Kemba.
Yeah, I like that move a lot just because I think it makes Celtics just that much better.
But Danny Ainge is super stubborn and will never make a trade.
The stingiest GM in the whole league.
Third trade.
I have a trade with the Celtics too, and this is what I would consider a blockbuster. I have the Celtics getting a guy who I think is on the market. I'm not really sure how marketable he is. I saw a thing, and it was like 40 players who you could see him moved. And he was listed. I was like, yeah, I don't see why he wouldn't be. Vooch. I have the Celtics getting Vooch. And in exchange, Marcus Smart, Daniel Tice, Romeo Langford, and you probably have to throw first in there.
Yeah.
And I know you're getting rid of Marcus Smart, who is now decidedly, he's been named the heart of that team.
Yeah, I mean, he's the only guy that's stuck around since those for all these years in Boston. That's a tough one because I like that. I like Boston getting Vooch. I think that makes them a lot better. But giving up Marcus Smart is really I was gonna have them giving up Marcus Smart in the Porzingis trade, but then I thought there's no way that they would. I feel like there's no way they'll ever trade Marcus Smart. I really don't.
And it's because he is a Celtic.
He's a Celtic. He's just they have to he's so important to that team.
So. But let's think about this is an example of a recent trade that happened where it felt like that, and that's DeMar DeRozan and Kawhi getting traded.
You're right.
I mean, it could happen.
It could.
But, nobody expected that.
With Danny Ainge, though, it's like...
Maybe not.
I don't think... I mean, hell, he wouldn't give up Jay Crowder, and Marcus Smart is hell of a lot better than Jay Crowder.
And
no offense to Jay Crowder. He's good, but
he's no Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
I agree.
I like that, but I just don't know about Marcus Smart. But I like Vooch with the Celtics.
Me too.
I feel like I would probably pull the trigger if I was Danny. Would I?
I would.
I probably would.
Think about your starting lineup: Kemba
Jaylen, just needs to
he needs to learn how to pass.
Yeah. They just don't because Marcus Smart is the playmaking of that team, though. So with no Marcus Smart, you really are relying on Jaylen Brown to do it all, and it's just I don't know if he can. My third trade, this one is a small one. I want to do one small one, and it does involve the Detroit Pistons. I want to do one with them. This one is sending DeLon Wright to the Philadelphia 76ers. The Pistons get Mike Scott, Terrence Ferguson, and their 2021 second-round pick.
Perfect.
Very simple trade. I don't even know if they would have to throw in a second-round pick, honestly. Maybe Terrence Ferguson is good enough. We're pretty much just getting rid of DeLon Wright because he's been playing pretty good. And honestly, a team like the 76ers could use a guy like him coming off their bench to play significant minutes in a playoff stretch. And especially if an injury happens, he can provide playmaking and scoring off the bench.
Yeah, and I think DeLon Wright fits with the Sixers. I think that works. And you said we had Terrence Ferguson. Who was the other guy?
Mike Scott, just for money.
Mike Scott, just for money.
Yeah.
And I like that. I just get rid of DeLon Wright.
And then a second-round pick. Yeah, which, like I said, even if you could probably do that trade without the second-round pick, too. Yeah. So I'm going to check the camera real quick.
I've got a little bit of a smaller trade. This is a trade that was in full effect. This trade rumor was going on earlier in the year. And I really like this trade. I think it works really well, especially with how one of the guys mentioned is shooting the ball this year. This is the Warriors getting Lonzo and Nico Melli.
Oh, I forgot about Lonzo.
In exchange for Kelly Oubre, just straight up. And I love that trade, especially with how Lonzo's been shooting the ball this year. I think he fits great into the Warriors system. And I honestly just think giving Steph Curry a running mate like Lonzo's going to find the open man in transition. Yeah. It just makes it so easy. So I really like that trade a lot. And it's a smaller trade. And when I was told it, I kind of fell in love with it.
Yeah.
So I got to mention
I wonder if
again.
the Pelicans would ask for more in return just because of Lonzo's been playing well lately. Early in the year, probably not, but lately he's been playing really well. So I wonder if they would ask for
a future first.
For maybe a first or maybe a second, or I don't really know because the real Warriors don't have much young players other than Wiseman. So.
And I don't know, and he obviously aren't giving up the Timberwolves pick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Timberwolves pick.
So I don't know if they would ask for more. I like that trade though because with Lonzo and Wiggins, that's the only thing that's kind of I don't know if Lonzo starts.
Yeah, me either.
You have Lonzo, Wiggins, and Draymond on the court at the same time. That's kind of a lot of non-Golden State Warriors basketball.
I just think Lonzo is a way better Brad Wanamaker and he influences the game a lot more than that. As a sixth man, I think he'd be.
But the thing is, I feel like he can't come off the bench though. Like Lonzo and Steph Curry, I feel like could so work next to each other. You know, and he's he's not like the Clay, but he can guard the guard. He can guard so the other really good guard, so Steph Curry doesn't have to.
Yeah, Steph Curry can guard Kevin Huerter instead of Trae Young.
Exactly. Fourth trade for me is involving Andre Drummond. He obviously is a prime candidate of getting traded. I have him getting this one is I think we even talked about this in a prior episode, but it's Andre Drummond getting sent to the Charlotte Hornets. Cleveland gets in return Malik Monk, Cody Zeller, and Bismack Biyombo. No picks involved. Drummond's on the final year of his deal. They're getting a young piece in Malik Monk, who definitely has stepped up his game this year for sure. Zeller and Biyombo are both on the final years of their deal, so they could even buy them out if Cleveland wanted to, which I honestly would probably expect them to. But like I said, you're getting a young player, Malik Monk. For Charlotte, you're getting Andre Drummond to pair up with LaMelo Ball. I like that. I mean, I think Charlotte could legitimately make not a playoff run, but make the playoffs, especially with adding Andre Drummond. He's definitely an upgrade over Cody Zeller. I like that trade.
Yeah, no, that trade works, and I really like Malik Monk going to the Cavs. I think that works.
Just gives them another nice young piece to add to their core of young players.
Drummond with LaMelo Ball works. I think that's
I completely agree.
I think it just does. Melo's one of those guys that after I've watched him now a couple times, and he really impressed me, and I think many guys can just play with him. Like, they just work. I think LaMelo can make any guy fit into his system. My last trade. This is my 3-team. I have a 3-team trade here. John Collins is a guy who I thought is going to get traded all year because I don't think he's worth the max. I don't think the Hawks want to give him the max.
Yeah.
I think they have too many talented players to give John Collins max money. So in this trade, I have the Thunder getting John Collins and Tony Snell. I have the Hawks getting Tim Hardaway, Mike Muscala, and 3 first-round picks.
Whoa.
The Mavs getting Al Horford and a second-round pick.
Okay, let me think here. So the Mavs are getting Al Horford and a second, and they're giving up Tim Hardaway. And are they giving up one of those picks, or all 3 of those coming from OKC?
All 3 of them are coming from OKC.
3 firsts for John Collins?
Mm-hmm.
Really? I don't know if that.
Think about that young
worth
core.
That much though. 3 first-round picks though. That's a lot.
But if you're gonna get him, you're already willing to pay max money. So, like, you think he's a max value player.
Yeah, I just don't know how willing OKC would be to trade all those picks just because they like
work
receiving
so hard
picks. Yeah, exactly. Like, they did a lot to get a lot of picks, so just giving them up. Maybe 2, but Atlanta's giving up John Collins and getting, what are they getting in return?
Tim Hardaway and Mike Muscala.
And 3 firsts. Yep. I like Tim Hardaway with them. Yeah, I don't know how much Dallas would want to give him up just because he's been one of their only pretty good shooters this year.
But Al Horford hasn't been bad this year.
Yeah, no, he really hasn't. And he would be nice. Honestly, he would be kind of nice next to Porzingis too.
Like an actual big man next to Porzingis.
Yeah.
So I like that trade.
Yeah, 3-team trades are really tough to make and everything. It's like I said, it's tough for the one team to get enough in return that is giving up a big piece.
Yep.
John Collins with OKC, I like that. I like that.
Lou Dort, Shea, and John Collins.
instead of like 2 of the first, you just throw in one of your young players to Atlanta too. Like, not anyone crazy. Maybe like Darius Bazley or Teo Maledon or something. So
yeah. And what's the Samantic?
Pokusevski.
Oh, Pokusevski. Yeah, Samantic is on the Spurs.
Yep.
Yeah. Pokusevski. Say his name again.
Pokusevski. I don't know. I think it's Pokusevski.
Okay. I'll have to learn it.
Yeah.
What's your last trade?
My last trade is also a 3-team trade. It does involve Kyle Lowry. It also does involve Nikola Vucevic as well.
Ooh.
So I have Miami is receiving Kyle Lowry. That is it. Toronto is receiving Nikola Vucevic and Kelly Olynyk. Orlando gets Andre Iguodala, Aaron Baines, Kendrick Nunn, Terrence Davis, plus a 2022 protected Toronto first-round pick. I'm thinking like top 10 protected probably. And another future first-round pick from Toronto, and then Miami gives up their second-round pick in this year's draft.
Wow, you did good of getting the Magic. The Magic got a lot in that deal.
I'm thinking because
they needed a lot
because they kind of are. They're getting Iggy obviously just for the money. They're getting Aaron Baines just for the money. Baines probably won't. He'll play. You're kind of giving the keys to Mo Bamba. Kendrick Nunn, though, a young guard who can play the rest of this year with Markelle Fultz being out, and Terrence Davis, another younger guard. And like I said, it's pretty much just while Fultz is out, you're giving other guards potential chances to play well where you could trade them before Fultz comes back. They still have Cole Anthony, though, so it is a lot of guard play. I was going to include Terrence Ross in this trade going to one of Miami or Toronto because of, he's just a good player that a good team could use. But he's making a lot of money, and there's already so many players making a lot of money in this trade. And there was
hard to make it work.
Yeah, there was no way for me to throw him in and make it work. So, yeah, Miami is getting Lowry and giving up Iggy, Nunn, Olynyk, and a second. And then Toronto is getting Vooch and Olynyk, and they're giving up Baines, Davis, and 2 first-round picks. So
I love that trade. I think you get Vooch in return in exchange.
Oh, and you're giving
up
Kyle Lowry. Sorry, you're giving up Kyle Lowry too.
But you're getting Vooch back. I mean, Vucevic is not some low level center.
He's on like a 2 or 3 year deal still left, and he's only making $26 million a deal for an all-star player, probably a top 5 center in the NBA right now. Like that's not a bad contract at all.
And I think we talk about this a lot, and I talk about it a lot, and I love talking about it, but I think he fits next to Pascal.
Yeah.
Get a nice shooting big, really opens up the lane.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful.
Kelly Olynyk pretty much does the same thing that Aaron Baines does, so
they're basically the
Baines
same
is probably
player.
a better rebounder than Olynyk, but he's only in there for money too. Like I said, it was just tough for me to give Orlando as much, get them as much back as far as is either team giving up too much. Like Toronto, I don't know if they'd want to give up Lowry and 2 firsts and Terrence Davis to get Vucevic. But, I mean, like I said, Vucevic is under contract. Lowry's going to be gone anyways, so.
Yep, and the Heat are going to want to make a push. So if they can get a guy like Lowry, that's huge.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, that pretty much wraps it up. Let us know how you like these trades. If you want to create some of your own, comment them on our Instagram. And I would like to see what you guys have to say. Check us out on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. And go green and go blue.
Go blue.
Bye.
Peace.